Welcome back. So I want to kind of create one more helper in my setup right here. If you notice, there's a lot of things I'm doing again and again, like how when I kind of go and find all CSS tags, I do that a lot. When I click, I do that a lot on buttons and find buttons and length, how many are available, stuff like that. There's a lot of things I'm repeating in here that we can improve upon as well. So we're going to try and do that this lesson. And I'm going to make a new helper. I'm not going to use this guy because that's kind of very specific right now for this specific test right here, but the one I'm building now could be used for any test I'm building in the future, because that's going to be a way for me to kind of get information from the HTML in a simpler way in my mind. So I'm going to make a new class right here, and that's going to be the DOMHelper, which is just a name I picked to kind of explain that I want this guy to be able to get information for me from the DOM, right? Now, to work with the DOM and to kind of get information from that HTML, if we look, how do we actually do it right now in our code? We're using something called the fixture. That's how we can go and get the debug elements, right? And we can query for information. That's using this fixture. So to kind of start making methods inside a new helper class, we're going to need that fixture. And what is the fixture? Well, the fixture is actually this guy right here. The fixture is a component fixture with the list, the name for the actual thing I'm testing, which is the product list component right here in this case. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the bottom, and for now we're just going to make it easy. We're going to make a simple constructor right here, and that constructor is just going to get the component fixture passed from the outside. For now, later we'll change this a little bit to make it more reusable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a local reference right here that's just going to be called fixture, and that fixture is going to be, of course, of the same type. That's a local guy, and we can even make him private actually. To kind of make sure that nobody from the outside can access him. And then we're going to say this.fixture, and we can actually set him equal to the fixture that we're getting in the parameter. So this guy in the parameter is this guy, and he's being passed to the local reference right here when we're creating a DOM helper. So now the DOM helper should be created, and what we want to do next is we want to kind of create a reference for this guy so we can start using him. And we'll go back to the top of our code, and just like we did last time with the helper, we'll do the same for the DOM helper now. So we'll make a new reference, DH for DOM helper, and we'll just put in that DOM helper right here. There we go. And then we'll go and initialize this guy. So if I scroll down, right below where I create the helper, I'm going to create a new DOM helper, there we go. And there I'll pass in the fixture, because that's kind of what I need in the constructor. Now again, I need the fixture in there because I'm going to use the fixture inside my DOM helper to go and get information from our HTML. So now that we have the DOM helper available, let's try and use it. Now let's just start right here where we have some kind of method or some kind of way of getting the first H2 element. We are querying for the first H2 element, and then we are getting back the text content for that element. Now we should be able to kind of do this inside the DOM helper so that we can do this in a one-liner and make it a lot easier to reuse it later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this code right here, and we're going to try and convert this into a method inside the DOM helper that we can reuse. So let's jump to the DOM helper, and let's just go right below the constructor and say, let's call it single text. That's just a name. You can put in anything there. The idea is that it's going to return the first element. So I'm going to pass in the tag name right here that I want to look for, and that's going to be of the type string. And then what I want to return is the text from that, the text content from that element. So we're going to just return a string as well when we're done, right? So let's just try and put that in there. And then let's just pass this in for now, because I want to kind of use this information right here to kind of create this new method. So what are we going to do? Well, step one, we're going to end up with actually using the local fixture we have available in our DOM helper. So I'll say this.fixture. To kind of go to this fixture, I'll use the debug element, and I'll query for any, and now it's H2 right now, but we're going to change that. I'm going to query for any tag name I get from the outside. So it could be anything that I pass in the parameter right here. I'm going to look for that. That makes it more dynamic already. I can reuse it for any tag. It's going to find the first tag available, and then I'm going to use that first tag right here to kind of say, if I actually found an element, I want to get the native element's text content. So let's just do an if statement right here. So if there is an H2 element now, meaning that if I found it, I want to do something, right? Now you have to notice right now that I'm actually converting this into a head element. We're not going to do that anymore. We're actually just going to use the native element. So we're going to return right here native element.text content, because now the native element can be anything. So let's just get rid of this part, and this is actually my method right here. Now if it doesn't find the H2, it'll return undefined, so I don't have to worry about that. So now what I can do is actually I can use this method, pass in any tag name, it'll go and it'll find the first tag with that name, and it'll return the text content for that tag name, right? So let's try and use the single text now in our method. So I'll go back right here. There it is. So notice how this guy now changes from the old way it was written into this now, where we first have the DOMHelper dot single text, and what I want to pass in is h2. There we go, and now that's all I had to do. So I can get rid of these two lines right here, and that's how simple it actually looks now. Okay, so I'll now hopefully get the first tag with the same information. Now the cool thing is I can reuse that. Not only in this area, I can reuse the single text wherever I want. I might find a better name. If you guys have a better name, that's perfect, but that's the name I came up with right now. So let's just check if the test still passes. It does, so everything still runs. Again, perfect with unit testing right here, that I can easily just quickly make a test if things still work as expected. So now we've created the DOM helper and we made our first method in there. Let's just keep extending this DOM helper and see what else we can do. See you next time. Have fun.